guys, welcome back. Two 150cc bikes which has been favorites for many for a long time are the ones that we're going to compare today. It's Yamaha's FC and Honda's Unicorn. The FC did undergo a lot of changes during the course of time, but Unicorn on the other hand has stayed pretty much the same. But still, in 2019, they both are two compelling options for anyone looking to buy a 150cc bike. Well, like all our comparison videos, we're going to concentrate on these 5 factors. So let's not waste any time and start with the first factor, which is the design. Like I said in the beginning, the FC did undergo a lot of design changes since its launch. But still, at its core, it has retained its identity with chunky fuel tank and a bold and muscular look. The front headlight is a LED headlight which looks aggressive, and the range of the headlight at night, even though not the best, is good. You can get through with this headlight. The speedometer is an all-digital one which shows sufficient information and it looks modern and neat. Then for the handlebar, it's a straight type handlebar with all necessary switch controls, which even includes an engine kill switch. The fuel tank from the front has a chrome garnish since this model is the FZ-S. The only design I'm not a fan of on the FZ-S is the tail light, which looks just fine. But the pillion grab rail, it's actually a good one. And then you get the midship muffler, which really looks sleek. And finally, to complete the looks, you even get an undercowl. So for the design, the FZ-S is a modern looking bike which is bold and sharp, and I really like the design of the FZ-S version 3.0. But when it comes to the Unicorn 150 ABS or the 2019 Unicorn, its design is a very familiar one. The tank is a big and chunky tank with just the 3D Honda logo, and the front headlight is the same one that we are used to with some chrome touches and a very glossy and scratch magnet windshield. The headlight is an halogen bulb, and at night the visibility is average at best. The speedometer also looks very dated. It's the same old 3-circle analog console which shows just the basic and necessary stuff. The taillight used here, even though very familiar, I feel it's better than the one on the FC. And finally for the exhaust, it's a normal type exhaust. Well, the design preference changes with riders. Some may like the classic style Unicorn, and some others may prefer the modern and aggressive looking FZ-S version 3.0. For me, Unicorn's design feels a bit dated with no major changes. In a way it's good because Honda retains its classic identity, but still, when I check both these bikes, I surely like the design of the FZ-S version 3.0. So let's move to the second factor, which is the specs. And for that, first let's start with the FZ-S. The engine that powers the FZ-S version 3.0 is the 149cc air-cooled 4-stroke single-cylinder fuel injection engine. And for the max power and torque and rest of the stuff, it's here so that you'll get an idea about it. Then for the gearbox used on the FZ-S version 3.0, it's a 5-speed gearbox. For the weight of the bike, it weighs just 137 kilograms and the ground clearance is 165 mm. For the seat height, it's 790 mm, and coming to the suspensions used here, the front is a telescopic fork suspension and the rear is a swing arm monocross suspension. And finally for the brakes, both the front and rear are disc brakes, and on the front you get ABS, which means it's a single channel ABS bike. That's all for the specs of the FZ-S version 3.0, and now coming to the Unicorn 150 ABS, it's powered by Honda's 149.2cc air-cooled 4-stroke single-cylinder carburetor engine. The max power and torque this engine produces is almost on par with the FZ-S version 3.0. The gearbox used here is also a 5-speed gearbox, but the curved weight of the Unicorn is much more than the FZ-S at 146 kilograms. And same is the case with the ground clearance, it's 179 mm. The seat height of the Unicorn is also higher than the FZ-S version 3.0 at 798 mm. Now moving to the suspension, the front is a telescopic suspension and the rear is a monoshock suspension. And finally for the brakes, the front is disc equipped with ABS and the rear is a drum brake. That's the specification of both the bikes, and it's just for reference. But what really matters is the third factor, which is the ride quality and comfort, and let's start with the FZ-S version 3.0. The engine used here by Yamaha is a well-refined and smooth engine. It has good power and you can easily hit 80 plus mark. You can even hit the 100 km/h mark, and then also the engine won't get stressed and the ride is smooth and enjoyable. I didn't notice any vibration from any body parts, and for the gear shifts, they are also spot on with no issues. One thing I have noticed here is that the power delivery is not very abrupt in the first gear, but on higher gears, you can feel that the power is much better. The clutch feel is also nice, and overall, I like the performance of this Yamaha engine. But if you have watched my other FZ-S version 3.0 videos, what I really like is the ride control of this bike. I love the ride control of the FZ-S version 3.0. Stuck in traffic, or if you want to avoid a pothole, it's a very easy thing with the Yamaha FZ-S version 3.0. Coming to the ride comfort, The seats used on the FZ-S version 3.0 is a good and comfortable seat for both the rider and the pillion with good cushioning. My height is 176 cm and I was easily able to plant both my feet on ground, and I also didn't experience any issues with the handlebar. Speaking about the handlebar, it's positioned closer to the rider and the seating posture is upright. Now coming to the suspension, by default it's a bit on the stiffer side, but still during my testing I didn't experience any stress or strain. And then for the braking, this bike's brake responds really well, and since you get chunky 140mm rear tire, even while doing some quick brakes I didn't experience any skid or stopping issues. And finally, one more thing is that even though the bike is not a very heavy bike, the stability is good even at high speed. That's all for the ride quality and comfort of the Yamaha FZ-S version 3.0. And now for the 2019 Honda Unicorn 150 with ABS, well, it's still one of the most refined engines in any bikes in this segment. And one place I'm really happy that Honda didn't change is the engine and the overall ride quality and comfort of the Unicorn. The engine is very smooth and the power delivery, even though linear, is enjoyable. This 150cc bike can hit 80 plus mark without any issues, and you can even push it to 100 km/h. One thing that is so good about the Unicorn is that this engine gets more refined over time, and that's seen while going for a long tour. You can feel that the engine gets much smoother the longer you ride. And about vibrations, there is no vibration while riding the Unicorn 150. The 5-speed gearbox has smooth gear shifts with no issues, and the clutch is also smooth. So for the engine performance, the Unicorn is still one of the best in the segment. For the ride control, it's not that great as the FZ-S version 3.0, but still it's pretty good. But for the ride comfort, Unicorn has the edge over the FZ-S. The suspension by default is set soft, and while riding through rough patches, I didn't experience any issues. For the seats, it's a well-cushioned long and wide seat which is comfortable for both the pillion and the rider. Seat height is slightly on the higher side compared to the FZ-S, but still for me, I didn't have any difficulty. And for the seating, the Unicorn has an upright posture which is ideal for city commutes. And for the braking, since the 2019 Unicorn has ABS, it is much better compared to the previous version, but compared to the FZ-S has slightly better braking. So for the ride quality and comfort, both the bikes are good with slight edge for both on different aspects. It's really tough to choose one based on this category, and hence I'm gonna check the last two factors before picking my choice. So now let's check the fourth factor, which is the price. At the time of uploading the video, the ex-showroom pricing of the FZ-S version 3.0 is 99,185 Indian rupees, and the ex-showroom pricing of the Unicorn 150 ABS is 83,014 Indian rupees. So for the pricing, the Unicorn is approximately 16,000 Indian rupees less than the FZ-S version 3.0. And now to the last but still really important factor, which is the mileage. And for that, first let's check the fuel tank capacity, and the tank capacity of the FZ-S version 3.0 is 12.8 liters and that of the Unicorn 150 is 13 liters. And for the mileage, during our testing in city, we got approximately 45 km per liter for the FZ-S and approximately 50 km per liter for the Unicorn 150. Now this may vary based on the way you ride and also based on riding conditions. So that's everything, and now it's time to decide which one to buy. Well, this is a really tough comparison because even though both the bikes are 150cc bikes, their price difference is a lot, and also their design is drastically different. My choice from the two is the FZ-S version 3.0, and it's mainly because I prefer the modern and sharp design of the FZ-S version 3.0. And I'm stressing this, which is, if I didn't consider the design, I would surely pick Honda's Unicorn 150 ABS, because the Unicorn's engine is one of the best, and now since it has ABS, the braking has improved a lot, and then it has fairly good mileage, and also the price, it's much less compared to the FZ-S version 3.0. But that's only when I'm not considering the design. Unicorn has stayed like this from the beginning, and in 2019, I would have liked to see some slight changes like a new instrument console and also a better headlight. But this is what Honda has offered, and that's why I picked the Yamaha FZ-S version 3.0, which has great design, smooth and reliable engine, great ride control, good ride comfort, and not so bad mileage. So that's up for this video, guys. Hope you liked it. If so, please do hit the like button and please do subscribe. And before you go, please do leave in the comment section which one is your choice. See you again in the next video. Till then, bye.